Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
We're here.
And another one.
Oh, yeah.
All right, this time
We're on a roll. Literally.
we got Ruben Pazmino, currently running for Homer Glen Board of Trustee, or
Yes, sir.
Trustee, however you
The
say
Village
that.
Board Trustee. Correct.
Village Board Trustee, yes.
Yeah.
Candidate for the Village Board Trustee.
One of four running this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Is it one of four?
But, see, I got myself. You got Rich Modelsky, Rose Reinders, Nick Muller,
Lepore, Mike Lepore,
and
yeah.
then,
Oh, I'm saying
Heidi.
I'm saying for the positions.
Heidi.
How many open positions are there?
Oh, there's three.
Three positions.
right,
yeah.
Three
right.
positions.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn, get
There
the
we
facts
go.
straight.
Kevin Kugel's running, and Heidi Pasella.
That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're one of those people that are running for that board, for the trustee. Tell us, obviously you already had some experience as a trustee back in
2019 to 2023.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're already on the board before. You kind of know what you're getting back into.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So how about you give us a couple broad strokes as far as what a trustee does?
So a trustee, so you have municipalities have aldermen, villages have trustees.
Right.
So there's 6 trustees for the village of Homer Glen and the mayor. So we develop policies, ordinances, legislative issues we solve.
Mm-hmm.
So we're pretty much the fiduciaries of the taxpayer.
Representing the taxpayer.
Absolutely.
I've heard fiduciary so many times today already.
Oh, really? Where you been hanging out?
With a bunch of student board,
School board,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Student
Candidates.
School
That's a
board.
good conversation. It's a good information for people to have out there, and that's why we're having you here as well.
I appreciate it. Thank
Give
you,
us some
guys.
information, some feedback on maybe potential plans for what would happen if you got the seat in Homer Glen. Maybe some of your plans, maybe where to maybe make some adjustments, stuff like that. What do you want to tell us? What do you want to,
Well, just like anything else, I won't be able to do it by myself because it is a board. However,
bipartisan at that, right?
Yeah, bipartisan. So yeah, it's not Democrat or Republican. And at the end of the day, it's all about getting together with the board to try to make Homer Glen an even better place to live in. So as a small business owner, I own a Ruby Agave restaurant here in Homer Glen for over 13 years. Been a resident for over 30. As a small business owner, you learn to do the most with the smallest amount, right? Without sacrificing your product. So in this case, would be services for the village. So
Efficiency.
Exactly. You want to be
I
efficient.
think I said that like 50 times today, which is good. This is good. This is what we want. You
Gotta
want
hang out with
efficiency.
you guys, even fiduciary. efficiency.
Common sense solutions.
There you
know?
go. Absolutely. And we want to represent the taxpayer. We want to represent the homeowner because we have to look after them, making sure we're not spending too much over, what we can. We want to stay solvent. We want to make our community an amazing, even more amazing place to live in. And just, keep Homer Glen. We want to keep its rural charm, but at the same time, we want to advance in certain areas.
Yep.
And it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of cooperation with the residents and the board. So that's one of the main things I want to work with the board on.
For those that are watching, let's just get this out earlier and later. When is voting? When does it close?
So right now, early voting is going on until tomorrow.
Friday the 27th. Is that what it is tomorrow?
Tomorrow the 27th?
No, tomorrow's
Man.
28th.
Yeah, tomorrow's the
Man.
20th. Wow.
I'm always
That
day behind,
went
so.
fast.
Paul's math proficiency isn't very high.
Bro, listening to those statistics earlier.
He's not a fiduciary.
Of his own company, maybe.
Oh, Lord. That's why we hire somebody that does the numbers.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah,
sorry.
That's okay.
Early voting closes tomorrow.
So early voting closes tomorrow. So doors open at 8 o'clock. They close at 3:30. Okay, and the only place you could vote for early voting is the Township Administration Building on 151st Street. So I'll be honest, it's better to do that because there's rarely any lines. It goes pretty quick.
Right.
Otherwise, April 1st, Tuesday, doors open at 7 o'clock, 7 or 7:30, and it goes until 7 o'clock at night. So
April Fool's Day, so don't be fooled.
yeah,
There's an
don't
election.
be fooled. Do your research. Go to rubyagave.com. I'm not rubyagave.com. Well, go there too. Go there after you go to rubenpazmino.com. That way you could find your polling place.
Yeah, once you're whoever you vote for wins, if it's
Yes.
Ruben, then you go to Ruby Agave to celebrate.
or vote, then go to Ruby Agave.
Oh, even better.
Absolutely.
Even get lunch, get that vote and get lunch and good to go.
Do you find out results the day of?
No. Usually, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. So
Right.
after 7:00 cuts, you pretty much have an idea, right? But it's about 3 weeks before you get certified because you got mail-in ballots still coming in,
yeah.
you got provisional ballots still coming in. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that's happening, but you don't get that final count until 3 weeks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Unless it's an overwhelming win.
Right. I mean, exactly. If it's overwhelming, it's pretty much you know what's going on. But sometimes in these consolidated races, not a lot of people will turn out.
Yep.
And you could be within one vote.
That's the hardest part
pretty tight.
is the voter turnout for local elections. Just like we were just having the conversations earlier for school board. Very large, very impactful decisions on where you live and how you live and whatnot start at the very bottom. School boards, trustees for
Correct.
villages, for townships, whatever, mayor, stuff like that, and moving on from there. Right?
On the local level.
On the local level,
Right.
these have direct impacts on the residents.
Correct.
That varies on how much the taxes go up. If the board raises taxes, how the money's spent, where it goes. Right.
Correct. That's the first thing. I mean, one of the first things, because you asked before what my concentration would be. Number one, first and foremost, infrastructure, because it's funny because everything kind of ties into each other. Because a lot of businesses won't come in here unless you have the infrastructure, right?
Right.
Especially down 159th Street, where I think it's I compare 159th Street to like a Rolls Royce with no engine. It has so much potential, but it's not going anywhere. It's hard to bring businesses in.
Yeah.
And then if you want to do a little bit more development west of Parker, you can't because there's no sewer system going that way. So
West of Parker.
I'm sorry, west of Parker.
Mm-hmm. So going towards 255, there's no sewer system there.
No, not from
I guess
On the south side of 159?
No, going west.
Right.
But on the south side of the...
On both sides, technically.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 'cause
Okay.
It's
Right.
usually the sewer runs down the middle of the road.
Correct.
That's how it
I
usually
see.
I guess one topic that we can talk about is the sanitation thing that they're
The water reclamation.
water reclamation they're
Correct.
thinking about possibly building. What's the I guess give us a background on it and then give us a little bit of what you think we should be a
So-
resolution to that.
Currently, we're using on that side of Homer Glen, we're using Lockport, right? So we have an agreement with them, I believe, until 2030, if I'm not mistaken. To they pretty much do all the water reclamation for us. However, after that, we're on our own. Lockport was nice enough to do it for us when we incorporated a little bit before that. And they have their own expansions that they're doing, and the Bonnie Bray facility that they have cannot accommodate any expansion from Homer Glen, so we have to build our own. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, we have to build our own
Correct.
water reclamation center for Homer Glen. Are we talking about just Homer Glen, that section of Homer Glen, or are we talking about possibly something bigger for the entire town?
Well, from what I understand, Homer Glen already has the eastern part that's covered by Illinois American Water,
You're the favorite people.
our favorite people. But we kind of want to get independent from them too. So
That would be good. I mean, the biggest problem that people have with Homer Glen right now currently is the water bill. Property tax probably being second, but water bill is number one for sure.
Absolutely.
The water bill right now, I wouldn't know because I have a well, so it is what it is. But for people that I know that are on the American water system, they're paying a massive amount of money just for just even having a connection.
we're at least right now. You can get a water bill anywhere from $250 to $300, and
We're using very little.
yeah.
So what are those charges then? What are the charges that are on that water?
Well, you got the pass-through fees that are a portion of that, the sewer fees, and actual delivery, distribution of the water. So I think those are the three main line items that you see there.
on top of whatever you use, right?
What's adjustable on that bill? Why would it make it so high? What's the cost that's bring that cost so high to the cost of that water?
pass-through charge? That
Pass-through
pass-through charge, which usually is about $125, $150 or so, if I recall.
What's the pass-through charge? What is pass-through charge? What does that mean?
Okay, I did a little more research on that. So the pass-through charge is the basically the transmission from Bedford Park this way. So the further it comes out by us, the more you pay.
Interesting.
So anybody further, like if New Lenox, for example, was using it, they'd probably get even
well,
more.
Bedford Park probably gets their water from Chicago,
Right.
right? The water district from Chicago.
Right.
Chicago probably charges a fee. Bedford Park receives the water, charges a fee to move the water all the way out here, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So how come? I guess I don't know if you know or not, but how come? Let's say Lemont has much cheaper water than we do. Well, they're not that much. They're not closer to the city by that much.
Right.
Who knows why?
I believe they own their own infrastructure.
Oh, well, that would make sense.
And we could have had that, but we didn't because back before we were incorporated, from what I understand, we took the money that we had for infrastructure and we bought open space land with it. So we spent about $8 million on that.
On open land,
right?
So
To protect our borders. That's when that's pretty much. That was the thought behind it, so
Right.
that Lockport couldn't expand
into Homer Glen, basically, right?
Right.
So good intentions,
Good intentions, not
but
the
maybe
smartest, I
ill-advised a
think.
little bit. Yeah,
right. Because it's just like any city, you want to build your infrastructure first
yeah,
before you do anything else.
and be able to support expansion
Correct.
or
Correct.
anything like that.
yeah. But there was also that chance that Lockport could have bought that property up as well, right? And then incorporated that into themselves. Who knows, right?
Woulda,
That's how-
coulda, shoulda.
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Maybe
So-
they would, maybe they wouldn't.
It's
Maybe
all
they had different
hindsight at
plans.
this
Yeah,
point, right?
but what's not hindsight is the fact that we don't own infrastructure currently. Now people are paying for that.
Through the nose. Correct.
So I guess my question is, can you build an infrastructure if American Water is here?
You can. I believe that the last mayor that we had signed an agreement so that we wouldn't try to do any of that for like 5 years. I think it was a 5-year agreement.
Gotcha.
I think we're 2 years into that, so we got 3 more years, and then we could start looking at something.
Okay.
Start looking at a game plan.
Yeah. So it's
So
not
there is
obviously. it's
so
not
there is possibly an end game to this whole situation.
just
a
like anything
potential
else.
solution, right?
It's going to require a lot of money.
Yeah.
Where we get the money from? You got any ideas of where we would get the money from?
People like me and people that live in Homer Glen. Our pockets.
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the only place they would get it from. But is there any alternatives to, instead of just raising taxes? How else can you get money or garner money to build that infrastructure,
Well,
or possibly, or
Remember, we talked about that circle of life, right? So we got to bring in more economic development, right? Because sometimes it's not just about charging property taxes. There's other ways of doing it. I think, honestly, the lazy way of doing it is just raising property taxes, municipal property taxes. In our case, let's invest in bringing in more economic development. Let's make it so that businesses want to open up here, and we get that pass-through sales tax. I mean, that's one way to start.
Well, that kind of reminds me of what Jay said on our other podcast about how who's it, Lincoln Way, right?
Lincoln Way, the district?
Yeah, Lincoln.
district?
Yeah, how their school district taxes less, but yet
But gets more bang for the buck.
gets more bang for their buck, right?
Yeah, in terms of
Because-
school district.
Is that something that I'm sure that's something you'd look into, just like everybody would want to, right? Do you think that's something there's potential there as far as
Lowering the tax bill? Or?
not
Lowering-
not
lowering,
lowering,
I don't
but-
see lowering
but
happening.
getting more out of
Being-
what's currently being collected,
Getting
right?
more efficient with the money that you get.
Yeah.
Oh, well, efficient. I mean, that's the key thing, right? To be efficient and not to tax and spend, which is what a lot of communities do.
Right.
And Homer Glen should not be one of them. It's a different taxing body, so it's kind of hard for us to do anything about it as a village. However, as a voter, you could look at who you're voting in for your school boards.
Yeah.
You guys just had a segment with them.
Yeah.
There's one set of people that are just about, let's just keep throwing money at the problem, let's see what happens, and there's other people like, hey, let's cut back some,
Let's stop. Take a
exactly.
look.
You have a huge amount that's already saved up in surplus. Why are we taxing even more?
Yeah. Maybe come up with alternative solutions for some of the problems that we have. Maybe
Absolutely.
ones that haven't been thought of before. I guess in terms of the municipal tax, That was pretty fresh thing that we talked about. That's been happening for the last for 4 years already. Where they were Homer Glen brought in the first municipal tax. What year was that?
I believe that was in 2021.
Okay, you voted for it or against it?
I voted against it.
What is it?
So at that point, the municipal property tax was for the road district that was well. This kind of goes into another story.
We got all night.
I know. So what happened was you had the Homer Township Road District, and you had the person that was in charge of that, the highway commissioner, basically handed over the road district, a huge portion of the road district and its assets to Homer Glen. Okay, so with that, of course, you're going to need funds to pay for it.
Right.
So the operating cost of it was about $3 million, and they went ahead and they levied a $1.5 million tax, which comes out to about $50 per 100,000.
Right.
Right. But just like anything else, I thought that the way they did it, they sped it up because they wanted to just get it over with and not do more research on it. And the reasoning behind it was because it was right before the election, and they were like, well, we want to vote it in now because we don't know what's going to happen in the next election. That's not a good reason to me.
No.
Absolutely not.
And I really think it should have went to referendum. I think the community should have chimed in more on it. They should have had somewhat of a decision, even if it wasn't a binding referendum. It should have been informative.
I was a resident at that time, but I heard something about it, but I had no idea what was really happening with it.
Well, there was one referendum that was put through, and a lot of people confused this. The referendum that was put through was actually at that time it was a different administration, not the one that's current, but the Homer Township administration was fighting to dissolve the road district and take over all the assets so that they could operate the road district.
Right.
So before they were able to do that, and actually there was a huge lawsuit between Homer Township and Homer Glen, costing the taxpayers a ton of money. The people actually on the referendum decided not to dissolve the township and leave it exactly the way it was. So since that
Township
happened,
Road District.
correct. So from that point forward, the highway commissioner pretty much signed over all the assets over to Homer Glen, and that's how we got the $1.5 million municipal tax.
Interesting. So people voted against doing that, no? Is that what you're saying?
No, there was no referendum for that.
Oh, there was no referendum for that.
It was, and that's where the confusion is.
Okay, that makes sense. So they voted to keep it.
They voted to leave everything the way it was.
Yeah.
Not to transfer it anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. And then
the village at the time, that administration made a deal with the highway commissioner. Highway commissioner doesn't have to answer to anybody. He's a committee of one.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing he has to worry about is his budget.
Right.
And then his budget is given to him by Homer Township. So he basically just signed it over and said, "Here, Homer Glen, it's all yours."
Interesting. Well, that doesn't sound right. That does sound kind of rushed. You know, I mean,
I don't like the way it was done. I don't think there was no ethics behind it.
yeah. I mean, and then including an extra tax that you didn't necessarily have in the beginning. And then has that municipal tax stayed? I mean, it stayed because it has to pay for district.
So the administration that came in after that, and I was a part of that administration, we voted against any increase. They were trying to double it. They were trying to go from 1.5 to 3 million. Then they tried to make it less. And they said at the end, we're not voting for any of that. We're leaving it just the way it is until we figure out, the future, what's going on.
Right.
So, I mean, for now, it's been running pretty good. So that's pretty much where we're at.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Ruben, do you have any potential ideas, I guess, I would say, as far as lowering taxes is gonna be tough.
There's probably no way to lower taxes
Right.
because the levies are already so high, right? The only thing you could probably do is get them to be more efficient.
Right.
Exactly.
Do you have an idea or a couple of ideas to get that done, to make the current tax money that's coming in more efficient?
Well, just like anything else, we have to, like, for example, our are you talking about our budget in general or just that amount?
No, general. In general.
Just in general, yeah.
I've seen an increase in our legal bills. We used to have 2 lawyers that used to represent us. We had a legislative attorney, and then we had the village attorney. And both of them would cover their bases very efficiently. We never spent nearly what we're spending now. I think the highest bill we spent, and don't quote me on this, but we were like the 12s to 13s, maybe.
Okay.
Now we're at about, I think the highest one we paid was about 35.
A
And
month?
this is a month.
So where did that increase come from?
That's the attorney's bill. That's what he's charging.
For what?
Well, supposedly there's union issues that they're discussing. I know that there was one point where the mayor was trying to have a bunch of people kicked off the ballot. They call it the Homer 14. I was one of those.
Oh, yeah?
I made it back on. And they spend a ton of money on
I
that.
actually heard about that earlier today.
Yeah.
About lawyers getting involved to get people off the ballot.
Correct.
Sounds
And
like a
that to me,
real good use of money.
Like
absolutely.
what?
And also our democracy.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
people want to run, let them run. Why are you fighting them? And it was to a point where the lawyers would go ahead and do, background checks and go dig really deep into. That shouldn't be. I don't know. I just think it was wrong.
I agree.
And I don't think that the taxpayer should pay that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right at all
Yeah.
in all reality. And then also that makes $12,000 to $30,000. I mean that's triple.
I
almost.
think I heard it was even higher this month. I have to double check. Don't quote me on that. But
Hopefully, in the next few weeks, you might have an updated answer.
So
for
then,
us.
so question for you then is: let's say you do win an election, you get on the board. How would you be more transparent on being on that board? How would you maybe get that kind of information out to people? I mean, we know that you've mentioned that there's a YouTube channel for all the city hall meetings. I mean, I've seen it myself, so I know that it's out there. How would you be more transparent with that kind of information?
Well, everything's available via FOIA, in case anybody wanted to check out our finances. All agendas are posted online, that type of thing. As far as how I would secure transparency, I would love to be on the Admin and Finance Committee again, which I used to be co-chair with. And that's basically any bill that comes in to the village passes in front of our desk before it even gets to the board meeting. And we sit down and we discuss it and we talk to department heads and we sit with the treasurer and we go over, if need be, line item by line item. What is this? Where did it come from? And why? Is there any way we could cut the cost down? That to me is a very important committee because of the fact that, when you're on the board and you're sitting there and it's kind of like, you don't get to spend so much time analyzing all those invoices like you do at a committee meeting where, the committee's not over, the session's not over until we verify and check everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's
is a committee meeting? That's not a public.
It is public.
It is public.
You can sit down. You can make comments in the beginning. Ask questions, and then when the question
is over.
time is over,
get to your job.
the meeting starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I actually didn't know that there was a committee meeting for stuff like that. That's good information to have because that's kind of important.
Absolutely.
If you really want to get down and into dirty and see where that money's going, that's probably the place to go, right?
And the thing is, if it doesn't get approved at that Admin and Finance Committee meeting, it doesn't even make it to the board.
Interesting.
I mean, the mayor could push it or somebody could push it, but then that's when you start asking all the questions.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's a good thing if if
Now,
someone's trying to push something,
Just so you guys know, the Admin and Finance Committee, when the last administration came in, was eliminated.
Oh, it's dissolved.
What?
It was dissolved. And then after a lot of back and forth and questions and why and this and that, it was brought back.
Interesting.
Think about that.
How long was it dissolved for?
I couldn't tell you how long.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you how long.
But the fact that
I
it
know
was
that
dissolved
it was. Yes, it was
is already
eliminated.
questionable.
Correct.
Who's trying?
That's weird.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Yeah.
So what ends up happening, check this out. So something like that's eliminated, so then that means you got to take that all to the dais, to the board directly, right? So then your meetings that used to take 3 hours, 4 hours are taking 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
Now you have to review
Who
everything.
the heck is going to sit through all that?
Right.
And a trustee position, is it a paid position?
Yeah, very, very. I think we make like
I want to say before
It's very, very
$6,000.
small.
Jennifer, I think said it was $6,000. I
Was
think,
it
yeah,
something like
6,000
that?
as a trustee.
Right.
Before
Um,
tax.
Before tax, yeah. 50, what did you say? 5290
Yeah.
after tax or something like that.
Very low. And at the end of the day, that's
So
just
you're not in there really for the money. You have a business to run.
exactly
Right.
Exactly. You're there because you want to serve your community, and that's if you're there for the money, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong part of government. You should be
Exactly.
You should be going for a state senator or something
Yeah.
like that. That's where the money's at.
You've done it before. So, what do you think what's something that you learned the last time you were a trustee that you're gonna bring with you this time?
Well, this time I'm much more familiar with how meetings run. Before when you're brand new, you don't know what questions you could ask. Should I say this? I don't want to offend anybody. But now it's
You were elected there for a reason.
Exactly. And sometimes if you don't know certain things, they can get away with certain things.
Yeah.
And they count on the fact that you don't know.
Right.
Now that's not the case.
Now you have a better understanding
Absolutely.
of the whole situation, the
Yes.
whole game that's played. Basically, it's not a game. You're not really
Right.
playing a game. You're playing real life in all
Absolutely.
reality.
You're
but-
affecting thousands of people's lives. right?
Exactly.
24,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So it's an important aspect to understand that is even voting in general is important for that kind of stuff, right?
Correct.
Transparency, efficiency, democracy, whatever you want to say. It's
Absolutely.
all
Common sense.
common sense is coming back. It feels like ever since the last election, in the general election, but it's overall after COVID. I think common sense is starting to make a comeback finally.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming back in full swing, I think.
It took a little bit of time, took a break for a while, and now
It's coming back.
and now it seems to be coming back, which is a good thing because we need common sense. We don't need any of this extra crap that's just floating around.
Right.
I mean, not to go too deep into it, but there's things that we realistically don't need or we don't need influence from other places to
Right.
influence our everyday lives, right? So,
That's true.
but I guess another question would be: so, what are some of what would be a development that you would, let's say, want to build on 159th corridor? Like, let's say we figure out the situation with the sewage and the sewer lines and everything. What would you want to build there? Like, what kind of what are we talking? Amenities? We talking bars? What are we talking?
I think Homer's kind of done with the whole sports bar thing. I think Homer
the
wants
slot
some
machines.
yeah, no more slot machines. I think Homer wants some nice restaurants. Some higher end restaurants. Kind of like what what am I?
Burridge?
Burridge. Something like that. I think we were talking about a town square earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was an idea that we were actually working on.
Give us some feedback on
Is
that.
something
and
you'd want to do?
yeah, give us feedback on that, and then continue with the development. 'Cause,
Absolutely. So the town square, and not to scare anybody, but we wanted something very small and quaint, right? Just something for us in Homer Glen, with cafes, boutiques, maybe spas, little restaurants, that type of thing.
I like spas.
Bath
Bath salts.
Can you,
I mean, not bath salts, but what are they called? The baths, the ones with
the Roman bath?
Oh man, bro! If you open that up, sheesh.
Yeah, that's true.
I
That's
don't
not
even
a
know
bad
what that
idea.
is. I'm gonna go
Go
look
find
it
out.
up, Yeah.
Fancy baths.
So yeah, kind of the way Burr Ridge had it, but something a little more naturey, if that's a word. Something that surrounds an area maybe in the middle where you could do picnics and you could sit, with your
Like
kids
they have in the movies.
grass. Yeah,
Like they
something
have in the
this.
movies.
Yeah.
And then you cross the street, and then you got your little boutiques, you got your little restaurants, and then the kind of what I was thinking about was those business condos type where you have retail at the bottom, and on top you have the professional offices.
Yeah. I'm assuming not very high up.
No, just 2 floors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Professional offices, maybe like clean tech of some sort, something like that.
Yeah,
right?
there you go. Architects, lawyers' offices, dentists, that type of thing. Something nice where you could park your car, then walk with your family and go to different spots.
Yeah.
And just, meet with your neighbors, people that you know from school, whatever. And everybody's congregating like a community in one area.
Yeah, that'd be very nice. Yeah, for sure.
After I left office, it kind of veered off in a different direction. They wanted to put residences in there. And that's where everybody panicked because, of course, nobody wanted dense, development. And
Nobody wanted probably affordable, affordable living of any sort in terms of.
right away they say Section 8. No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But people throw that out there. It's like, no, absolutely not. And what they didn't want was the whole like 9750 out in Orland Park. Which is that complex that's like kind of like condos.
Oh
and-
yeah.
That's not what we had in mind, and a lot of people were throwing that out there. Exactly not what we wanted.
You want to be smaller, maybe
Small,
more
quaint.
closely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is, they started saying, "Oh, you're going to do residents in there," and then the idea kind of took a right turn, and they just put it away, boxed it, and said, "Forget it. We'll look at it another time." And we had already spent a lot of money on researching and development of this, but it just never transpired.
Would that be
That kind of sounds like wasted money.
I mean, I would like to spark it back up.
Yeah.
I know Dan Kenny was on the committee with me, and he loved the idea.
Yeah, you just had an interview with him recently, right?
Yeah,
That was nice,
absolutely.
yeah.
That was, and he's still, he would love to see something like that. But aside from that, that would be an amazing addition to 159th Street, because we were thinking of doing that across the street from the Village Hall. So it would span the entrance. The main entrance would be on 159th, and then it would go all the way to 151st Street.
So you have it in and out on both sides.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Something like that.
Doesn't have to be that big of a large development, but in and out from both sides would be good enough,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the main entrance would be 159th, of course, and then the rear would be some kind of like a utility entrance, or just something where if you're at Heritage Park or at the Village Hall, you could cross the street.
Ah, yeah, that
maybe
makes
up
sense.
a
Yeah.
bridge or something,
Right.
and then you would go into maybe like a park entrance to that
Yeah,
development.
yeah, that'd be a.
It's nice,
I think that'd be nice. I think that'd be a good idea for maybe the residents of Homer Glen have changed. There's a lot of younger people that moved in. They would probably like that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, myself, I would probably like it myself if I
Yeah.
can go to one area and go, shop a little bit and maybe enjoy time a little bit and spend some time in the park a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Obviously, hopefully, it'd be a safe place. So
especially people with kids now that are moving here.
Yeah.
With younger
Right.
kids, that would be something nice
Yeah.
for
Absolutely.
them.
Imagine you go to the park and you're playing, you have fun, and everybody, okay, guys, let's go eat
Yeah, you just go across the street. Yeah,
and hang out.
yeah, that's a good idea, and that's a lot of tax revenue that would be coming from something like
Yes,
that,
absolutely.
right?
Sales tax.
Sales tax,
Yeah.
and sales tax, part of that tax comes back to the village. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of raising taxes on the residents to do maybe some of these infrastructure upgrades or purchases or whatever,
Right.
it'd be coming from that,
Right.
from sales tax from small businesses. That's why having small businesses is important. We know that Homer Glen is a very open spaces, designated open spaces. Have a place in Homer Glen for sure. People do not want stuff built one on top of the other, right?
Right.
So we do not want that.
Right.
There's a reason that those spaces are there, but there are also spaces that can be developed. You don't have to fully develop them in terms of use the whole space. You can develop a part of it, leave the rest of it open. There's different. Obviously, it has to make financial sense to make something like that, right?
Right.
So
Oh, of course.
you have
Just
to
like
do your
anything.
research, right? Like anything else. But it would be good to utilize some of that space to. We don't want an Orland in Homer.
No.
We don't want an Orland in Homer, right?
No. And if you want that, just go to Orland.
Yeah, go move to
And then
Orland.
come back.
Yeah.
No, not
Yeah,
even
or-
move
yeah,
there. If
that's
you
true,
want
yeah.
that- If you want that huge shopping experience,
Yeah, go to
go
Orland.
to
Yeah.
Orland or go to Burridge or go to Oak Brook or
Yeah.
whatever. It's not that far.
Yeah.
Let's keep Homer kind of, and I've always said the beauty of Homer Glen, it's still like a blank canvas, right? It
Yeah.
still has, we could make it that perfect work of art. But just like anything else, it takes time and patience, and you got to engage with the taxpayers, the residents.
yeah.
Everybody's
See
got to
what they
kind of
want.
chip in. Exactly.
Yeah, see what they would be willing to work with, what
Right.
works for them, what doesn't work for them. What the tax implications would be. Would it be better for us? Would it not be better for us? There's so many degrees to it that it would have to have some thorough research done on that. You guys said you guys already.
We did that study, and they came back, and that's where they were like, okay, this could be done, but we're looking at it's the feasibility study. In order for this to make sure you guys don't end up bankrupt in it, we're going to have to bring in residences, right?
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of went the other way. But I still think they should have looked at it further. But it just kind of
How about a
stopped
mix?
it right there.
How about a mix? How about a mix of professional and some residences, maybe some higher end condos or something like that? I mean, that's literally up to the residents to decide.
Correct.
And for the feasibility study to make sense. A mixed use building where you have some professionals, some condos, something like that, maybe makes sense. Obviously, ramifications from both, but
Right.
that's but something needs to be done, right?
Well, on the other side of that, let's say we're not ready for that yet. I do believe that we do need some, 159th Street needs some businesses. It does need, and we could choose the businesses that go in there, or just maybe not choose, but kind of guide the type
yeah,
of businesses
yes.
that we
Yeah,
want in.
right.
Yeah,
Give
no
them some
smokestacks,
incentives.
but nice and
Correct.
clean professional
Yes,
buildings.
right.
Maybe some manufacturers that are nice and closed up and quiet, and like if you want to do maybe like a smaller, I don't want to say warehouse because warehouse scares people.
Well, that's one thing. I don't think that has the zoning for it on 159th Street. I think it's more retail
Yeah.
that they're
Okay.
looking for. And I think the residents will be more comfortable with retail, restaurants,
yeah,
that
100%.
type of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
I know that there's a couple subdivision developments that there's one that's called the Dunn Farm that I thought that by now would have been built, but I believe we don't have the infrastructure. Well, maybe for that one, I think we do have the infrastructure because that would go with whatever servicing us on the east
yeah,
side.
because it's on the east side of Parker.
Correct.
Yes, so they would have infrastructure.
Right.
Yes.
And that was going to have some retail to it. It was going to have, it was, the houses were very nice. I think they were kind of like townhomes, if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken. And it was a very beautiful design. I'm really not sure what happened since the last time I was there. It's just kind of stuck in limbo.
Yeah, I mean, we also don't want developments that are houses on top of houses, right? That's not really how Homer Glen is. I mean,
No, this was a nice design, and I know that we did bring in people from the surrounding subdivisions to kind of put their input. And we got to a point where everybody's like, okay, we could deal with this. I think the only sticking point was that they didn't want any streets going into the subdivisions surrounding them.
unnecessary traffic. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
I know there was a safety issue because the fire department needed to have a certain type of access in and out, and that would
Right.
require the street going through one of those subdivisions.
Ah.
So I think that's kind of where it's stuck. But I, to be honest, I don't know what's going on with it at this point. But if a project like that and maybe one more like that would go through, that's more revenue for Homer Glen. You know?
I mean, more revenue in terms of
Taxes.
property taxes. Yeah, in terms of maybe they wouldn't have to raise taxes on everybody else because they'd have a new source of taxes, right?
Yeah.
But
you
at
gotta
the same
pay, but
time-
you gotta pay to. I don't know how much the city would pay, but you have to pay to set that up, right?
At the same time, whatever new money you would have to make sure that it's spent wisely.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Just like
That's
anything. Right.
that's the biggest thing is to
Yeah.
spend the money wisely. Because if
Right.
you really can, no matter how much more tax revenue you can get,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have somebody who's looking at where it's being spent, how it's being
It's
spent,
fiscally responsible.
well, checks and balances the same way, right? Then
They're
all
just-
of that
they're
is
just-
just a waste of taking up space.
They're just spending it to spend it.
Right.
Well, yeah, of course. That's listen. Most places that have a budget will max out the budget, right?
Right.
Right. And that's exactly what we don't want. Right. And when I was on the board, we were very frugal with what we spent. In fact, I was there during the pandemic. And, we grew our budget from, let's see, we had a surplus. It was like 20 million. And we grew it up to like in the 40s, like 46 by the time we were done.
Nice. So
That's
that was a
awesome.
good increase. Yeah. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
good.
And we did a 10% cut across the board. We did a hiring freeze. And we were just anything that came in, we were checking it, making sure it was okay. Do we really need this? Okay, let's go forward. And there was positions that we didn't fill that we didn't need.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly.
You kind of I
We
feel like,
we ran it lean.
yeah. I feel like you learn that like when things get cut or things aren't being used, like it's like nothing happened. Like
Right.
there was no
You
consequence.
get used to it.
I mean, my example is Canada when they closed down. When everybody went on strike, all the government workers, a lot of the government workers went on strike, and they're like, "It's crazy, nothing happened. Everything still worked as it should have."
Yeah, exactly. So what's really going on,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, developing the 159th court. It's a brand new street. It's a concrete street. It's a
Oh,
nice,
yeah,
nice
yeah.
street. I like driving down that street all the time.
Yeah, with
159.
what car?
I went through that project took about 6 years, and it affected my business and all the businesses
I remember.
along 159th Street.
I used to drive down there several times a week.
Huh?
Right? For you it was probably daily.
Yeah.
It was several times a week from LaGrange all the way to Farrell in Lockport.
Wow.
Literally never drove there at that time. I lived on 143rd and Lamont Road, so I never had to go that way. So, but now I live much. Now I drive there all the time. So I'm glad that's already a done project, But it's a very nice road. I think the median, the middle, could have been done a little bit differently. I feel like now making access. Let's say you want to build something off the road, you have to kind of destroy the median and then build like a.
Cut
Yeah,
into it,
we're not big fans of that. That's for sure. Like for example, the entrance to come into my restaurant used to just be pulled right in.
I
They
remember
make
that.
it-
Yeah, and then
So many people miss that turn if you're headed.
I missed it the first time I came back after
Yeah.
construction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say you're heading west and you want to turn into my restaurant. You miss that turn into Jiffy Lube. 'cause
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
go to Jiffy Lube. I
Yeah.
want to go to Ruby Agave. So they end up going in through what the exit is.
Yeah.
They go in, and I always hear. There's been like 3 or 4 times where I could hear the fender just pop off because the bottom piece. What do you call it? The skirt or whatever.
yeah.
Or the tire
lip,
hits the
yeah.
edge because that's in.
Oh, don't make those
not made for
noises,
that.
man. Don't point at the car like that
I
and
was
say
just
those
looking-
kinds of things. Don't say those things. No. We don't like to rub
Remember
on the
when your
ground.
lip fell out?
No, it never fell off. Never fell off. Rub, didn't fall off.
Yeah, I remember that. I pulled a U in the middle of 59 to get back in there.
But yeah, so it's a nice street. It's it should be developed. I think that's if any street was to be developed in Homer Glen, it'd probably be 159th. I wouldn't touch really 151st. I
No.
don't really want the. Tell us about 143rd expansion. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm against it. I don't think we need it. I
Really?
think that 159th Street is plenty. I mean, it's plenty for everything that we have.
And 159th doesn't really have that much traffic on it.
What's the expansion?
143rd,
Yeah, 2 to 4.
I believe.
No. They want to do from
Turning lanes. They want to add
from
turning lanes.
Lamont Road, where I used to live, all the way to Bell Road. They want to make it a 2-lane on each side.
No, he's asking.
That's 2 to 4. That's a
right.
4 lane.
How many
Oh
lanes?
shit! Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm asleep
but-
over here. Am I asleep?
Hey, this is your third show. So.
Yeah, 100%. I can see Marston's eyes. They're like, whoa.
No, I still have to work after this.
Damn. Yeah, it's a nice street. I would say that. But yeah, so you say you're against 143rd.
Yeah, I don't think it's more. It's going to benefit more Orland Park and Lockport than it is Homer Glen. Because remember, Homer Glen, we were supposed to be the bedroom community and nice and quiet.
Yeah.
143rd doesn't have a lot of traffic right now.
It will if they expand it.
It doesn't have a lot of traffic because it is a 2-lane on each side from Bell Road to Will Cook, right?
Right.
But from Will Cook all the way to Wolf, it's 2 lanes.
Wait, you say from Bell to?
From Bell Road,
Oh yeah, you're right.
from Bell
Mhm.
Road to Will Cook, it's 2 lanes on each
Mhm.
side. From Will Cook to Wolf, it's single, and then it's single all the way to Orland. Yeah, all the way to LaGrange.
Yes.
All the way to
Yeah, yeah,
LaGrange.
Yeah.
But on the other side, from Bell Road going to 355, it's a couple of places it turns into 2 lanes, but very short space.
Mm-hmm.
I think it turns into two lanes past Lamont Road by the highway.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
where it turns into
yeah.
2 lanes on each side. So that's the section they want to develop, right? They
Right.
want to make it wider. Which the only thing that's over there are houses.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be a safety issue because you have a lot of kids that
There's a school
they're,
there.
They're bus routes.
Yeah.
They're picking them up. They're waiting, and now you're going to expand that. Not to mention the eminent domain. You're going to end up taking a lot of people's property.
Yeah,
Pennies on the dollar.
yeah, exactly.
The golf course is going to get a lot of land taken from them.
Yeah, the golf course. I mean, the farmers that are on there,
Yeah.
like I said, the local residents who are literally on the road. Yeah, I'm not also a big fan of that. I think you're right. I think it would benefit the other towns around
Everybody
us more.
but us.
Yeah.
Same thing with Hadley. From what I understand, the village-
Oh, that has a direct impact on me right here. So that
That's what I'm
I can
saying.
tell you, we've, I think Heidi Pasella, who's running, I think also for trustee,
Yes.
she fought the hell out of that.
Yeah,
road.
she has a website on it too.
Yeah, and then our ex neighbor who moved out of here, we miss you. We miss you for moving out of here, man. It's not the same without you. You know who you are. He went down to Tennessee, but he also fought very much against it, and they fought it off. They found a solution, and I don't have a freaking 2-lane road in my freaking bedroom. You know what I mean? 'Cause my
Yeah.
house is close to the road, so I'm glad. So there is always a fight that can be put up, and I know people are fighting the 143rd expansion, but how that's going, I have no idea.
It's up in the air right now. It's the way it went through the county, I don't know if you know that whole fiasco where the
wasn't there a vote on it?
there was a vote on it.
People voted
They
against it.
voted against it. The county board president signed it, and then the next day she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to sign it. It was an accident."
Yeah, see, that sounds like
Stop
a fudge.
everything.
What?
Yeah, dude, bro, it was fucking crazy. All right, I'm sorry for the swearing, but
Right.
yeah. So the lady signed it, and then she's like, "Oh, I didn't realize that I signed it."
She didn't realize that it failed. that didn't go through.
I don't know, whatever it was, but it's like, dude, you sign it, and then you're like,
Yeah.
the next day you're like,
Not only was it signed, the clerk took
Approved,
it and
yeah.
she filed it, and it was a done deal. And then the next day it's like, "Oh, guys, what had happened was
Somebody came up.
gave me some money,
It was-
and I
I
decided
don't know
to
what
do
happened,
it. I mean,
but a briefcase of money just ended up on my bed. It was the
who
weirdest
knows?
thing.
I'm not saying that's we're not saying that's
No,
what
no,
happened,
right.
but who knows, right? I mean, that sounds sketchy. That doesn't sound like a professional, not a professional choice. I guess you could say not a professional
I feel like
move.
that's just like the wrong thing to do.
I mean, that makes people look
You know
at you
what's
like,
funny? 'Cause
the what?
there have been signature scandals in the past like that here in Homer Glen before. Where,
Homer Glen, for being around for 24 years,
we
has
got a lot going on.
some crazy stuff going on. Maybe there's a lot in Palos. I don't talk to anybody.
I don't know.
so
It seems like Homer Glen is pretty well known around these parts for having
You know
red
what,
hot
though?
topics.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, you look at other towns and everybody's going through their stuff. Right?
Oh, of
it's
course.
just we see this more because we're focused more on what's going on here. But Orland's got their stuff going on.
I feel like it's more of a closer knit community. So
so everybody knows the
right.
business. You know what I mean?
People talk.
It's on social media. We got pages that you get like a report like every 10 seconds. You get, oh my God, who did
And
that?
this
Who
person's
did
a
that?
clown,
Who
and
did
this
that?
person's a clown.
Exactly.
Hey, soon
A
enough,
bunch of clowns.
Hey, soon enough, the podcast is gonna show up on there. Don't watch
we're
these
gonna,
guys.
yeah, we're gonna,
Oh.
yeah. Oh, look at these
I'll watch
clowns. Look at these clowns. Yeah, that's all right. We don't care.
Hey, let them. That
Hey,
just means
man.
more people are gonna watch
There
it.
you go. Everybody wants to
Hey,
see the train
well-
wreck. That's how it is.
We'll take all the feedback we can get, good or bad. We don't read it anyway.
We'll just like it.
Yeah. Good for you. We like your feedback, sure. But I mean, this is what we like I said, today has been a full day of podcasting. It's not a full day, but a good amount of podcasting.
Right.
We obviously want to get the information out there to the voters. We need people to go vote. Regardless of if you win or not, we hope you do win, but
Thank you. I hope I win too.
hopefully you hope you're winning. Turnout is a big thing. We need more turnout. We need a lot of
Yes.
turnout.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but we need more turnout. I mean, if there was more turnout now than there was the last election, that'd already be a success. Progress, yeah. But we need a lot more than that. As we were saying previously, if you don't go vote, you don't complain.
You don't have a right to
That's it.
complain.
That's right.
Yeah.
Go do your job. Go do your job as a taxpayer
And a citizen.
and a citizen, and really do some. I mean, it really doesn't require much.
Well, I mean, do your
Doing your
research.
research.
Do your research.
Especially now with social media and websites, you can read up on everybody.
Dude,
and
give me a favor. Go to ChatGPT and look up who is Ruben Pazmino. I wonder if it will know anything.
oh,
I'm curious.
who?
You think they know anything? Who is Ruben Pazmino?
Okay, let's see. This is cool.
ChatGPT. We're just talking about this. This thing is next level, huh? Not only ChatGPT, all these AI programs are pretty interesting. Searching the web, dude.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, holy
President of
smokes,
Homer
bro!
Glen, who has been actively involved in local business and politics. He owns and operates Ruby Agave.
Land Kitchen, taking a whiskey bar, restaurant.
Was that a
location.
plug? Ruby Agave.
Hashtag. And was reelected in 22 as committee man for precinct 12. So you are currently precinct committee man?
I was.
Oh, you were okay.
Right. For the
In
HTR.
2022, technically, we're in 25 now, so never mind. Enrolled trustee, Pazmino co-chair. Let's see, an
He
environmental.
also
committee.
co-created and chairs Homer Glen's first behavioral health and addiction recovery committee.
Yes, I actually I co-founded it and I personally helped fund it.
Wow, that's good stuff. This campaign platform emphasizes attracting the business to the area, improving infrastructure, and developing a town center for foster community identity and economic growth. Wow, literally what we just talked about. Pazmino has been a resident for Homer Glen for 30 years.
Good
and
fact check right there.
Did they hack our stuff right now and take this information and put it right in there, dude, or what?
No, it said search the web.
That's kind of cool, actually.
That is pretty cool, right?
I'm gonna be putting a few names in there.
You should be
tonight.
scared, to be honest.
So
Imagine if your address popped up on there.
You know what?
He lives at.
My address is public. I mean, if you run for office, your address
Yeah.
is public.
what are
Yeah.
the sources? It says
Yeah.
I see Instagram as a source, and what is that? The patch? What are the sources? I'm curious.
Patch.
Ruben, there you go. The patch.
Don't forget
So
tonight.
they pulled a lot of that.
Oh.
They pulled a lot of that from the local information that they can get.
Hanania, Suburban Chicagoland, Patch, State Board of Elections,
Wow.
No, that's not you.
There's a little bit on here, yeah, for sure. Pazmino, you were with Bose McKinney. What were you involved?
That was not me. It was my dad. And they've tried to get me on stuff
Yeah.
that my family's done, and it's all civil stuff, not criminal.
Yeah.
Lord knows they've tried, but you know.
They've been trying to get you some other stuff, huh? Beating people up, supposedly.
Okay, I'm going to address that right now.
Let's go.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
There was an individual who entered my establishment because anybody who knows me, who's been in my restaurant, they know I'm in the front, and I look at my restaurant and my business like my home,
Yeah.
and I look at my customers like family. So we had one individual, and this was during our Christmas, our Christmas pop-up bar. You know,
Right.
we're Santa's Cantina
Yep.
from November to end of
My
January.
girlfriend went to that.
Ah, there you go. That's right. You guys
That's a
been
nice
there.
place. My wife went to.
There you go. So, individual comes in and, he starts acting a certain way like he shouldn't be. And, I realize people are having fun. I like to let people cool down and
Yeah.
relax. But then, we have a lot of those blow-up, Santa Claus blow-up dolls and stuff like that. And he starts punching it. And I walk up to him. I go, "Hey, buddy, you take it easy. These things, they cost money. And, you want the place to look nice. And,
Yep.
just, relax." Okay, whatever. So then he goes and he sits, he's in the dance floor and he starts, dancing and blah, blah, blah. And okay, my focus starts going to the rest of the room and I'm at the door. So then this lady comes up to me and she says, "Ruben, this guy just touched me on the dance floor. Can you go have a conversation with him?" So I'm like, okay, of course. I go, "Hey, do me a favor. Don't touch anybody. Keep your hands to yourself." And I was kind of shocked because the guy was there with two other people and his girlfriend. So the fact that the girlfriend's there,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. So I let it slide, and I always try to kind of calm stuff down, right?
Yeah.
So then, half an hour passes, and the lady comes up to me. She says, "Look, that's it. This guy. You need to do something. You need." And apparently, he was grinding on her, and da, da,
Yeah.
da.
Right.
So I asked him to leave. He didn't want to leave. He says, "I'm not going anywhere." And I was like, "Yes, you are." And so, of course, I start escorting him out. As we're walking out the door, one of the other busboys that was there, he pushes him as we're going on the way out. And, of course, you start touching
Thing
people. You
escalated,
start
yeah.
pushing,
That's quick.
you know. Yeah. And, of course, we're going outside. He starts saying things. He's going to break the windows. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. An altercation happened, right? And at that point, of course, somebody filmed the piece where I react,
Right.
and that's the piece that makes it, of course, to social media. Mind you, this is during my last election as I was, running for
Gotcha.
trustee. So very conveniently, the next
Sounds
day,
very much like a setup.
and there's a lot more to this because I find out later that person is related to other political figures.
So that sounds
and
more
I'm
like
not
a
going to
definite
mention any
setup.
names. Yeah,
Let's just
Yeah.
leave it at that. Okay, so
So the
you
rest
didn't beat
is
him up for no
history.
reason.
I didn't even beat him up. It was more like pushing.
Oh, okay, so you didn't beat him up, all right?
Right.
So you just kind of escorted him out, right?
Well, I mean,
I get you. I
there
I
was
understand.
Physical back and
I gotta
forth.
do it to Marston's all the time when he gets drunk over here.
I don't get drunk
garage.
over here. I was gonna make some jokes, but I'm gonna be professional.
There
over
you
here.
go.
Oh Lord, oh yeah.
So of course, every time I run or this
Gets brought up.
mysteriously comes up, and by the same person that puts it out.
Right.
So it is what it is, guys. If you come into my establishment and you're going to create trouble, and you touch my staff and you touch my customers, it's not going to go well for you that night.
Yeah. Listen, who are you trying to reach out to here in Homer Glen? Who are you trying to get out to the vote? I mean, I know you say you're door knocking, that you're doing door knocking around.
Oh, absolutely.
The
I'm going to
neighborhood.
different neighborhoods, and some people go by lists. I'm knocking on every door in that subdivision.
Yeah.
Because even if you're not on the list, you haven't voted before, maybe I can get you to come out and do your civic duty
Yep.
and vote.
How many Homer Glen residents are registered to vote? What are the? I think it was Jennifer that was saying that.
She said out of 40,000, it was like 18,000 or something like that.
There's
No,
24,000.
24,000.
in Homer Glen.
I think it was
Like 6 or 7,000,
Was it 7,000?
Yeah, she said over 50% wasn't registered to vote.
Wow.
which is crazy. So yeah, knock on every door basically for sure.
Get them out.
Polish community. I mean, we need to get you guys out here. There's a lot. There's a lot of us out here. And these elections, not only this local election in terms of village board, but school boards, like we were just talking about previously. This is important stuff. This has
Direct
a
impact.
direct impact on your livelihoods, the taxes you pay,
Absolutely.
the education your kids receive, just overall safety of the community, everything. I mean, it's all in there. Go out and vote. Don't sit back and say, "Oh, other people will go vote for me. My vote doesn't really matter." It
Every
matters.
vote counts.
It matters. It does really matter. It's important. You guys want to keep Homer Glen the way it is. Maybe you're happy with the current administration. That's fine. Go vote for them. Maybe you're not. Go vote for the opposite. It doesn't matter. Go out and vote. We don't need 5,000 people or 6,000 people to decide for 25,000 people.
That's correct.
And if you don't, like I said, like we were saying earlier, if you don't complain. Don't complain because you didn't do your job. And go out there and actually make a decision on who you want to vote for, what kind of policies you support, what you don't. So get your asses out of your house and go vote.
Take you a second, especially early voting. You're
Everybody.
literally in and out.
Go ahead.
Early
and
voting.
Say the date again.
So tomorrow's the last day for early voting.
This time, Friday, the 28th.
This is probably coming out on Friday.
And then Tuesday, April 1st from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
At your local voting stations where you usually vote.
And
correct?
if you don't know
Check
where
that
that
little card.
well, actually, yeah, because they switch them around a lot. So if you want to go onto my website, you can find out more about me, and you can pull up your polling place through my website, rubenpazmino.com. RubenPazmino.com.
It'll be in the description.
That's
You're going to add it in there?
Yes.
Are you going to have a dedicated lot for us for the Polish Highlander house?
Absolutely. Are we going to talk about that? Or?
Let's go, dude.
So-
Hey, listen, I got reelected back onto my chapter as vice president again.
They tried to make me president.
Why not?
For a second.
We can
can't.
make decisions by ourselves without anybody else knowing.
Yeah, we can't.
Committee of two?
No.
Out of 7, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't have family members.
Yes, we're
On-
strict.
on
we
the
got
board?
Multiple on the
That's
same.
actually a good idea.
We got a
Yeah.
constitution.
No kidding.
Yeah,
We got a constitution that says
Although I'm not gonna say anything, but we got a husband and wife on the board.
Oh, boy. Do they like each other?
I hope so.
Because if they don't, then maybe
That's
it'll be
even
on the
better for
board.
everybody else, huh?
I'm
I
just
think they're
saying.
fine, yeah.
I mean, one just literally takes notes.
Yeah, but
there
he's
you go.
very good at his job, so nobody wants to get rid of him.
there you
literally.
go.
Yeah, so we had our little chapter Highlander House election. Not Highlander, the main, because we have Highlander houses for all the Highlanders that are in the Chicagoland area, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a main board for that.
Refer to them as ZPPA.
That's right. Below them is a bunch of other like chapters, you can call them, where they have their own separate, leadership,
And
right?
each one is representative of a village in Poland.
Yeah. And so I got
Nice.
voted in for vice president for now 2 terms for the next 2 terms. We have
For
2
3 years. For 3 years.
3 years? No, it's 2 years.
It's 2
No.
years. It's 2 years.
3 years was way too much. That vote for 2 years, I was like, that's pushing it. So we're back in there. But now we got to look for a place to put up a new Highlander house for all the Highlanders.
I
to
think
come to us.
159th Street is screaming your name.
We need a good deal on land.
Yeah.
There you go.
We need some prime real estate and
It would be a big attraction for the South Side here. For there's a large Polish community down here.
Well, I mean, and is
On the
it, correct me if
weekends.
I'm wrong, is it the majority Highlanders that are out here?
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
majority is
And on
yeah.
the south side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most Polish people that are on the South Side are Highlanders. most Polish people on the north side are from the other regions of Poland.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's kind of split. There's Highlanders on the north side.
There's both each ways.
Yeah,
So-
but predominantly on the south side, Chicago is Highlanders.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Highlanders meaning they're up high in the mountains,
Yeah, so that's in the south.
like central.
No, southern Poland is
Okay.
mountain ranges,
Gotcha.
Which is where the Highlanders
which
are.
is where the Highlanders are
Gotcha.
from.
Yeah.
That's where
So
we're
that's why they
from.
love
It's a
Homer
very
so
small
much.
region.
Yeah,
It's not a very large region, but yeah, it's like Homer Glen.
right. So it's very foresty.
Except missing the
green,
mountains, but that's okay.
Missing mountains. Yeah, it's okay.
We'll make our own.
kind of
There
cross
you
on
go.
a mountain.
But yes, so we we like this is why I have the property that I have because
I think it's a cool layout you got.
I was born on something very similar. I was raised and born on something very similar,
Nice.
and just to have something like this here now in Homer is just, it's a perk for me. I love it. I got my own chickens. I got my own animals. I got, I got room for a lot of stuff. So it's,
There you go.
it's a nice place. It's a nice, quiet place. I have very nice neighbors. I love the neighborhood. I love the community. The politics need to tone down a little bit in terms of people attacking each other because it seems to constantly happen.
You know what though? I will say this, and I don't want anybody to take it the wrong way, but I think that when politics are quiet, I think that's when you got to worry.
Sure,
That
but
is very true.
He
That
means,
is very
He
true.
means more like less smearing and more.
Doing.
Yeah.
That I agree. That I agree with.
We could fix that. We just gotta find somebody who can attack every side.
Or just
Well,
ignore them.
Hey, that too. Get
but,
to work.
But yeah, so the Polish Highlander House, the ZPPA, is looking for property, possibly to maybe buy and then build a new Highlander house for our community. It'd be something the size of the Norfolks. We're looking for a large parcel to get these picnics going. There's gonna be a lot of picnics, a lot of events, sporting events, stuff like that. So
Now there is something. Okay, so you go on Bell Road, and it's right there by I think Old Oaks. You know how you got was it you got Menards on Bell Road?
Yes,
And
yes,
then the
yes,
last thing there's like on the right side, there's like a huge. I don't know if
Yes.
it's a church or it's some sort of a barn/church.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. I thought it was maybe like a ranch or like a court.
Right, but I know it's like some sort of a clubhouse too. I think it's a
Maybe
Serbian.
it
I
is.
think it's
Oh, it might be the
club.
Serbian clubhouse. Yeah,
So
there's
is it-
Serbians out here, Lithuanians,
Oh
Polish.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a mix of everybody out here, right? I mean, regular Americans like ourselves, and then
They have
Polish.
activities there. Well, what I'm saying is that you guys are kind of looking at something like that.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit bigger scale probably.
Yeah.
Because you
Okay.
need one part would probably be a restaurant. One part would probably be a banquet hall.
One part of
Wow.
bar,
Oh wow.
One part a bar. Part of the restaurant. I'm
part of the
assuming.
restaurant.
Well,
yeah.
say lounge.
Yeah,
Lounge.
a
You're right.
lounge.
You know what?
Say
That's
bar.
right. That's
Say
not a bar.
bar.
Yeah.
Right.
right.
There you go. I just gave you.
And then obviously a fairly large parking lot
Right.
Yeah.
is a big thing because when picnics show up, you get 500-600 people showing up.
Wow.
Yeah.
You get more than that.
Sometimes, yeah.
And
Sometimes,
you need plenty of
sometimes,
parking.
yeah.
But the current problem that we have at the current house in Chicago on Archer is that there's just no parking.
You can fit in the actual parking lot. You could probably fit about 25 cars tops.
Wow. So
And-
they're parking. They take over that whole neighborhood with cars.
Banquet hall
Yeah.
when on a big
Yeah.
event over 500 people.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So
And
quick
it gets-
maths
and
on
it
that. It's
It gets out of hand real quick,
Yeah.
So, and that's why people don't want to. Not that they don't want to go there. Of course, they want to go there. The problem is the parking.
Yeah.
Like
I
you
mean-
literally got to park like blocks away to sometimes come into the event.
It also needs updating. It's an old.
I mean, it's
an older
updated, so
place.
it's a nice place now. The problem is that it's just you can't do anything
Yeah.
with the parking.
People don't want to have a wedding there or anything because like, where's
It's a
everybody gonna
nightmare,
park? Right. You can't park there after like
It's
1 o'clock in the
also-
morning.
It's also the demographics of the neighborhood changed, where it's not Polish people anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Everybody
a mix of
moved
people.
out.
Yeah, everybody moved
Right.
out. So Homer Glen,
Yeah.
Lemont, Homer Glen, Lockport. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, there are a lot of people are out here. Or if they moved out from the city, they moved out to the suburbs like Burbank, and then
Payless.
from Burbank, they're out here. That was my journey.
Right.
So maybe something in the future will work out for us. We'll see.
Hey, you never know.
You know,
never know.
maybe you get on the board. Maybe we'll maybe make some deals on the side.
You
Never.
can't say that, Paul.
Of course, I can't.
can't
It's a
say
joke, everybody. Relax. It's a joke.
There we go. There
You
goes
can't-
my,
Just like,
there
just
goes my
like that.
election.
Yeah.
Nah.
Now you know what? All the Polish people will probably go vote for you now.
Oh, there you go. Never mind.
No. You know, first of all, one person can't do really much about it.
No.
That's why
It's the
there's
board,
that's
yeah.
why there is a board of how many trustees
6.
and then a mayor.
Correct.
Who does
the,
what?
She's the tiebreaker.
Exactly. So there's a reason for that. And why is it that every 3 years that you have, every 2 years you have election for 3 members, correct?
Yeah,
It's a 4-year term,
It's a 4-year term. Correct.
but every 2 years, 3 trustees get
Yeah.
voted in
So
and
that
out.
way they don't. You never want to vote out a whole board completely.
Balances.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Not like Lockport High School right now.
Well, Lockport High School is going to have an interesting election, that's for
Yeah.
sure. That's a big one.
6 out of 7
Seats.
seats
Oh,
are
that's
being
right.
replaced because one resigned,
2 of them.
one passed.
Yeah, two seats got
That's right.
opened up midway through. So there's 2-year terms left on that. So that can
Wow.
be,
It's big.
that's big for that district, right?
yeah.
And
You can either see a lot of change or absolutely no change, right?
you'll probably see change, but which direction will
Yeah,
head
right,
is the other
exactly.
question.
Well,
yeah.
I know one thing is there's one group that's running for all of the school boards that they're looking after the money. They
Of
want to
course.
make sure
Of
that
course,
they're
of course.
fiscally responsible, and they have another group that they're not really concerned about the money.
They're more concerned about the other inputs of our education of our children, which is probably not as important as the actual
Education.
things like the education part of it. What is it?
Reading,
Math.
writing, and arithmetic.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That kind of stuff. You know,
That's
sure,
what you
there's
should be showing them.
they're scoring high on science, right? But that's probably the only thing they're scoring high on. Everything else is
It was. I have it right here.
it was like 74% on science,
It's over there.
and then it was like 36%, I think, on
It was
math.
37 in math, 39 or
No, 29.
so
I think.
no 30. It was like 33 maybe in reading, and then science is high.
It was like 74, I think.
Yeah, and then like the graduation is like 95%, which is good. But Lincoln Way has it higher, 97.
But based on Illinois standards. And
They're
those
above
standards-
standard.
Yeah, they're
Would you
above
believe
Illinois
that
standard.
that's above standard?
What?
That would you believe that 37% proficiency is above standard?
For Illinois, I'm not surprised. I mean,
I mean,
know
that's kinda
it's
shocking.
horrible to say. I'm
Yeah,
ashamed.
100%. Yeah,
But,
that's-
Right, exactly. A third.
Hey, but we have the highest taxes in the nation. Aren't we number 1?
number 2.
Was it number
I think it's
2?
number 2 or number 1. I don't know which one it is anymore. You can't fail with a 0 because they won't give you one.
Yeah, you can't get a 0 anymore.
What?
Yeah, the lowest score you can get is a 45%.
Even if you don't turn in a single thing.
Wow.
We just found this out.
Yeah.
This is new information.
So you get a participation trophy.
Yes.
Yes. And there's
Yes.
like 3 levels of honor roll.
Yeah. What the?
There's like 3
Wow.
levels of honor roll now.
Like that stuff needs to be eliminated. Literally, if you have like a 90% or higher, you're at high honors. Let's just say.
3.5 GPA, right?
Well, yeah, sure. Forgot how that works.
Or
I went in
4.0.
high school for a very long time. Yeah, 3.5 or higher, you get honors or high honors or whatever it may be.
Yeah, there was honor roll.
Anybody
and then
below
high
that
honors.
is, I think,
Yeah.
I wasn't honor roll.
No, honor roll was above 3.0 and
Yeah.
high honors was 4.0.
Was it 4.0 or
Yeah,
like
you had
3.8?
no, you had maybe it was a 3.8.
I think it was 3.8.
I don't want that leniency. 4.0, you could be perfect or
I mean, but that's all it should be.
right. You
There
put in,
shouldn't
you
be
put
no
in the work
low
and you
high
get
honors, low honors, some stupid like that, Dude, you put in the work, you put in the effort, you get the reward.
Yep.
That's the way it should be.
If you don't,
Yeah.
well, guess what? Life will wake you up in a couple of years when it really is gonna matter.
Oh yeah.
So, anything else? Anything else we want to throw in? You want to pitch?
That's pretty much it. So just to go back to where it was, I served from 2019 to 2023.
So you have experience.
I have experience. I can hit the ground running. I don't like reaching into the residents' pockets. I think
I don't
that's
like
our
the
money.
government reaching in my
Yeah,
pockets either.
absolutely. And I'm a firm believer that you own your property. You shouldn't have many restrictions over it. I don't like government overreach, and I've never have.
That's actually something we didn't talk about, is in terms of just policies for like overall government, not government, but like residences. Like I know that in Homer Glen, if you want to build a new house, it has to be brick.
Majority, it has to be brick. It has to be brick all the way around, and there's a high. I think it has to be at least 60% brick.
Good thing, bad thing.
I think it's a good thing because
It is a
it
good
kind
thing.
of keeps our level high.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, before
That's okay.
yeah. So you were so you're saying that that and then anything else? Sorry.
Economic development. I think that's huge for us because, somebody's got to pay the bills, right? And I would rather it come through sales tax as opposed to property tax.
BBB, bring businesses back.
There you go, BBB. So that's one of my main focuses, and infrastructure. I think those are my main two things that I want to work on with the board: infrastructure and economic development. And then we kind of back into everything else, but that's pretty much where we're at. So everything else you can log on to rubenpazmino.com and come out and vote. Everybody, we need your input. We need your voice.
We appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you giving us some info. Homer Glen residents, there is hope for that water bill in the future.
Oh yeah.
So just you got to make the right choices, and maybe something will.
In the future, like maybe your
not today, not tomorrow, not next year. At least there's that.
Right.
At least there's no locked in contract forever. So
Correct.
So that's that. But glad to have you on.
Thanks for having
Sure,
me,
we'll
guys.
have
I
to do this
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
coming on. April 1st, go vote 7 to 7.
Like and subscribe. Go visit Ruben's channel if you need more information.
Visit Ruby Agave.
Oh, yeah.
Visit Ruben if you want to go spend your money.
There you go. Have a good time while you're at
Have
it.
a good time. Oh, it's always a great time. Oh, hard to leave that place. Have a good night,
There you go.
everybody.